Yvonne, Ivy, Amy, Lois, Jamie, Ryan, you, Tina, Ted, Cynthia, you, Tracy, Ivy is here, Snow, Nicole, Ray, Yuki, Carmen, Happy is here, right? Cassie, Happy is here, Nikki is here, Jay is here, Danny, Pat is here, right? Judy, Heidi, sorry, Nat, Jane, alright. Okay, so let's get started today. Before we have a guest speaker over here, thank you for posting bilingual journal. Those who got #1. So then other students, as you know, you were supposed to comment on their here, journal, and comments on journal 1-1. Right. So make sure you read others' comments as well. Okay. Then you can share, what your classmates are worrying about for their home science, for their future career, and you can learn so many things from their reflection journal as well as comments. Okay? And next week we're gonna have another speaker. She used to study in College of Management. Okay? And she's been working for a couple of times. She does some financial stuff. Okay. Right. And if you haven't posted anything yet, make sure you post your comments. Okay. Even if you're late. Right. Okay. Then. So today's speaker is Professor Huang. He used to teach in College of Management. Yeah. So he is going to talk about job search and how to look for your dream job and also how to have a successful interview. Okay. All right. And he's there. Okay, so please welcome Professor. The presentation. Okay, perfect.
So thank you for having me here today. Will you use the microphone? Or is this pretty much? Okay? How many use the microphone and I'll change it over. So my name is Mike. Thank you again for having me here today. So this is actually my first time back to a YZU classroom in maybe 10 or 11 years. So back in the year 2010, 2011, I was actually teaching here at YZU. So that was a long time ago. I think none of you were here to remember that. So that was a long time ago. You might not even be thinking about YZU or college. Maybe not even thinking about looking for a job. But today, that's what I'm here to talk about, the job search. So the job search, what does that involve? So I want to cover a lot of different topics based on my experiences when I was looking for jobs in the U.S. as well as working for U.S. companies. So that involves a lot of preparing your resume, modifying your resume, looking at the different job listings that are available, and then all the way through to submitting your job application, and then the interview. I know this is something that maybe many people, at least in the U.S., are very nervous about. So the job interview is another process. So something I've been fortunate to do is I've been a job hunter on one side, and I've also been on the other side of the table, being the person who was interviewing and looking for people to join my team. So I want to be able to give you information from both sides or both perspectives, so that you can hopefully find something helpful in your search for a job or an internship. Okay. So with that, before we get started with the agenda, I have a question for everybody, so don't worry, not a pop quiz. How many of you are looking for a job or an internship right now? Okay. How many of you will be looking for a job or an internship in the next few months? Okay. So hopefully those of you who raised your hand, I hope you'll be able to find something helpful. And those of you who did not raise your hand, this might not be very interesting to you, but hopefully maybe in a few years or months it will be helpful. So what we're going to talk about, the first step really is to looking at the different job opportunities and job listings that are out there available. Then you want to prepare, and you want to modify and customize your resume. So I know there's a term, people use resume, people use CV. So at least in the US, we mostly refer to the resume as kind of a 1 or 2 page sort of summary of your experiences. And then the CV is something that's more of a longer term sort of document that talks about maybe mostly for PhD or graduate students and talking about the research and the papers. But most job opportunities, at least for US companies or Western companies, are looking at a resume, which is just 1 or 2 pages to just sort of briefly summarize your experiences and how you're relevant and compatible for the jobs that are offering. Then, the job interview. I want to talk about how you can prepare and what you can expect with the job interview. Again, my perspective will probably be mostly from U.S. or Western-based companies. So Taiwan companies, I know sometimes have a little different approach, but maybe if you're looking at Western companies or U.S.-based companies, for the most part, you should be able to see some of the same types of questions and sort of interactions. And then what many employers look for when you go to the job interview. After that, I want to have a little workshop for all of you to help you do some preparation that you can actually use and bring to a job interview that you're going to have in the future. And then we'll do some on-the-spot, what I call on-the-spot interviews, maybe take some volunteers, and then we'll do an interview session so you can actually get a real-life practice. And the practice will hopefully be little pressure because I don't have a job to offer you, so you don't have to worry too much. Okay, and then there's some additional helpful information, and then I'll take some questions in the closing conclusion of this presentation. All right, first, when you're looking at job listings, this is what you start off with. What are you interested in looking for? Now, the main things, location is probably a big one, even in the U.S. Now, I should say with COVID, it's a little different because a lot of U.S. companies are now offering what's called full remote, that you can actually work anywhere in the country and be part of the company. But this is still an important factor for you if you want to be located in a certain city or even a certain country. Now the job type, this could be an internship. I just kind of did an example here as a full-time job. So of course after you've done your internship, you're ready for a full-time job, you're ready for a full-time job. And experience level, for most of you here, be what's called a new college graduate. You're sort of starting off in the workforce. But maybe after 2 years, 3 years of working somewhere, you want to change jobs, you can look for different experience levels. And then what you should do when you do a job listing search, you really want to read over the job summary. What is this job offering? What are you going to do in this job? And then, do you have the relevant experience or the skills that they're looking for? Many job listings will give you requirements, and then they'll give you sort of recommended what we'd like to see out of a certain candidate. And something you always have to ask yourself is, do you meet these requirements? Because in some cases, if you're looking for something, you're looking for a CEO, you probably don't want to apply to too many of those jobs. So you really want to apply for the jobs that you find that are a good fit for what your experience is, as well as what you are interested in. So, job listing sites. I know Taiwan has 104. There's a lot of other job sites. I think LinkedIn, it looks like I was just doing an example for this preparation. LinkedIn, actually, you can do a search on Taiwan and certain experience levels, internships, they have different entry levels. And the reason why I want to walk over this a little later, why I like to use LinkedIn. But whenever I find anything on LinkedIn, I actually will take an example to look at the company that's offering the job as well. Make sure that it's, for one thing, legitimate. It's the real job listing that they have. So it should be on the company site as well as LinkedIn. And these are just two examples that I found in Taiwan that I'm hoping is very similar to kind of the type of job that you might be looking at from your program. So the one I'm going to focus on, I think, is in the printout that I gave you. It's a Disney job. So I think most people have heard of Disney. So Disney is something that I also wanted to work for Disney, but I didn't get the job. So they actually have assistant manager for marketing and publicity. So I think that's something that may be similar to some of what your program or what you're studying here. Now, I talked about what you want to look for. Look at the job summary, look at the responsibilities, look at the qualifications. Is this, even though you really want to work at Disney, you don't want to just work at any job at Disney, even though it might be great, because you don't want to start and then just not have a good fit, or not have a good experience, or potentially even fail at the job, right? So you want to make sure that this is the type of role, this is the type of responsibilities that you want to work on, as well as the type of company, or organization that you want to be a part of. Now the responsibilities, how do they describe the job description? Is that something that you can see yourself doing, or actually learning to do, and becoming better at it? Then your qualifications. Does your background or your previous experience, whether it's if this is your second or third job, or whether you're coming out of college, does this actually align? Does this fit with what they are looking for? So these are things you want to look at when you look at any job listing or job category or job opening that you're interested in. So on your printout, I just took these from the printout. So the first one is the job summary. This is how they are describing, if you were to work at Disney in this job, this is what you would be doing. This is what you would be working on. So I think I have some highlights here. So I tried to highlight things that I felt like was a good fit for this type of PR program, this public relations program that you're working on here at YZU. Make the communication strategy, make different tactics, execute the marketing plans, communication. They're really trying to publicize their channel. This looks like it's related to the Disney Channel. Work closely with different teams, such as the channel's production, creative teams, promotion, sales teams. So right away you can see this job summary, you're not going to be just sitting at a desk and just working by yourself. It looks like they're going to have you work closely with other teams to really try to get their brand, get their publicity out there. They also want to look for somebody who's very creative, who has strong communication skills. So again, if you're very shy, you might find yourself, this might not be the best fit. If you don't like to talk to people, you don't like to present, this could be a more challenging role for you. So these are things you really want to think about when you're looking at a job description. Now, this is the responsibilities. Get into more details of what you might be doing in this job. Right, so you're going to work closely with a manager for daily communications. So they have some descriptions that are more high level on the previous job summary section. And now they're getting into actually specific details that you might be working on. Do you think that these are things that you can do? Like if the manager or your boss came up to you and said, I need you to do ABC, you'd be like, I can do this. Or, yeah, I don't think this is something I really want to do. So then maybe you want to rethink applying for this job opportunity. It looks like some other things here, right? Overseeing, writing press releases. Are you good at writing reports, writing publications, doing promotions? Maybe at YZU you're part of a club, and you had to actually promote the activities of the club or performance. These are things that would be very aligned with your skills from YZU. So even though this says that you're going to be writing press releases, it doesn't mean that you have to do something for a newspaper or a magazine. You could have done something at YZU for the website or for a flyer, right? So these are all experiences you want to think about, and did you like doing that at YZU? Now, I also want to think about these details because if you do make it to the interview, this is also a chance to actually ask more questions about the different responsibilities and different roles that you would have. And you can actually make it look like you're so interested. You've actually talked about, what kind of relationships would you build at this job? I actually am a blogger already. I actually blog about my school activities. I blog about my hobbies. These are actually very relevant experiences that you could actually share at the interview. Qualifications. So this is something that I know, so it's not just, I think every culture, whether it's Taiwan or the US, sometimes when people will look at these and think, okay, minimum 5 to 8 years, I just graduated from college, I haven't even gone to college for 5 years, so don't think about these too strictly. It's very rare for any company to find a candidate who has, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 out of 10, everything that they're looking for. Because first of all, any job, no matter how good it is only going to have so many applications. It's not where everybody in the whole world is applying. So you're never going to get a perfect candidate. Companies and the hiring team will just try to look at, who has the most match? Who is the closest fit? Who is somebody that we can potentially train because they have a foundation already? So if you see this 5 to 8 years, I'm the kind of person who would say, don't let that discourage you, because if only 3 people apply and all of you